Thank you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Just a second. Let me get the right. Yeah, first of all, let me make sure, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
If there's if a thumbs up or a high five would do, this is first. And the second thing is we have been listening to a lot of speeches since yesterday. Wonderful, profound, articulate market leaders. I'm just trying to pull up my presentation while yes, just a second. I didn't want to talk about the Saudi market because I think the players in Saudi deserve. Can you see my screen? Yes. I think the players in Saudi deserve to talk about Saudi market. Yes, we have been in the UAE market. We have had our operations in Saudi in late 90s until early 2000. We are a building material company in the UAE for the last 50 years. It's a family-owned, multi-family owned business. But I don't deserve to talk about Saudi. Saudi is a vibrant, and I prefer that the market needs to be discussed by the players who are actively participating in the Saudi market. That's why I took this topic, since I believe that there are a lot of entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs in this forum. And I first of all would like to appreciate this initiative taken by SYPA, Sibec. It's a beautiful platform that you've created, bringing in wonderful speakers from across the globe. I can see a lot of people from many parts of the world interested in listening about Saudi. Saudi is the economic growth engine, not just for the Middle East, it's for the entire globe. Just like the name says, Middle East, everybody is coming to the middle. And the word Makkah means center, and Saudi is in the center of the world, and everybody is looking for an opportunity to increase their wealth, to become successful. A lot of reason, and that's why I'm trying to address this topic of building a legacy through entrepreneurship. Before I get into the details, first thing I wanted to ask you all. I am a very in-person speaker. I like to speak on stage. I like to interact with people. I like to point fingers and ask questions, but I cannot do that. I'm not able to see you all. But I would like to ask this question, and probably you can answer it to yourself, especially if you're a business owner, especially if you're running a business, whether you're in India, you're in Singapore, you're in Dubai, you're in Saudi, it doesn't matter. What kind of legacy do we want to leave behind? What kind of legacy do we want to leave behind? This is a very important subject. It's not the legacy that I'm talking about in numbers, profits. I'm asking about what is the kind of legacy that you want to live, so that the lives are impacted, the lives of people, the planet is impacted, especially in a fast changing world economy, and where Saudi is poised with its Vision 2030, transforming literally every sector. Entrepreneurship is not just about opportunity, it's about impact, it's about endurance, it's about a legacy. With this, I would like to introduce myself briefly. I'm Dr. Mohamed Ali Maricar. I'm an executive director in BBMC Group. We are a family owned business. I have various opportunities sitting in different boards. This is a brief about me. I have written a chapter, and I wanted to address this chapter. This is a chapter that I wrote about a company in Dubai, and it was a chapter relating to the founder who was an entrepreneur himself. Now, what does legacy mean in our business? A lot of times when you talk about legacy, the only thing that comes to mind is inheritance. It's about what we leave for the people. After me, what I would like to leave for my children. That's what I think legacy is all about. But true legacy is actually what we leave in the people, in our teams, with our customers, within our communities. I had an opportunity to have a chat with the group managing director of Saint-Gobain Gyprock. He is Mr. Alain Tardy. He was about 70 when I interviewed him. And he grew up from a very small position as an engineer for 33 years, and then he became the global head of Gyprock, which is a Saint-Gobain company, and which means the world global marketing manager, sorry, the managing directors were reporting to him. So when I asked him, One day, sir, you will leave this company. You've been in this company for 30 plus years, you'll leave this company. What would you consider as your success? I asked this question about 15 years ago, and the answer was unbelievable. He said that what I would like to leave, or what I would consider as success, is the team that I leave behind. So everyone has to define what their legacy means to them, especially entrepreneurs. When we build businesses, we should start thinking beyond ourselves. We should start thinking beyond just the economic value. We should be thinking about what sort of social responsibility that we'll be fulfilling. And my topic will be revolving around this. Entrepreneurs don't just transfer assets, but they actually transfer vision and values. When you sit with an entrepreneur, you will know. We all have studied economics I'm saying majority of us are from the millennials or from the Gen X. Gen Z, I didn't see a lot. I cannot see the ages, but I'm sure this kind of a forum, Gen Zs don't come too much, but we should pull them in. But what I noticed is, when we studied in the 20th century, there was something that we were taught about in economics, is the factors of production. I'm sure many of you remember this. When you're in 9th standard, 8th standard, when you're touching economics, they teach about factors of production. What is factors of production? Land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. These were the four factors of production. This was required in the 20th century to run anything: a business, a manufacturing business, a service industry, a trading company, export, import. Everything you need: a land, a piece of land, maybe you need to have an office, you need labor, you need to have people around you working for you, you need capital, and you need entrepreneurship. And 21st century has actually evolved these factors of production. And if you look at land, do we need physical land, or can we do businesses on digital space? Number two, do we need our own employees' labor, or can I synergize and outsource my work with international what is that called? Gig economy, freelancers. And then you talk about capital. Earlier, capital was only either self-funded, family, or banks. Now you've got venture capital, capitalists, you've got seed funding, you've got crowdfunding, you've got so many avenues to raise capital. And when you talk about entrepreneurship, the evolution of entrepreneurship is so crucial in the success of today's business. We must think, if I am not talking about AI during my day, I mean I am already left out. If I'm not using AI, I'm sure I cannot see raise of hands, but if you can please touch the high five button. How many of us are using ChatGPT on a regular basis? Can I see a couple of hands up? I cannot see the platform, but I'm sure a lot of you will be using AI in any way or form. ChatGPT, Google Gemini, I don't know, you've got Perplexity, you've got so many AI tools. So as an entrepreneur, we need to evolve and understand what's happening beyond us, what's in the future. And that's how successful entrepreneurs build. A couple of case studies, because we're talking about the Saudi market. I really went and I did a little bit of research. I wanted to find a couple of companies, since due to shortage of time, each of this company can be dedicated a whole session to discuss about. But if you look at dairy industry, Al Marai is one. If you've lived in the GCC and if you have not drank Al Marai milk, means you have not lived in the GCC. This was founded by Prince Sultan bin Mohamed Al Kabir in 1977. Today it has evolved into becoming the world's largest vertically integrated dairy company. Now, what makes Al Marai legacy enduring? The first thing is, the leadership saw something beyond scarcity. It was beyond scarcity. It was something that they wanted to build. And then their commitment to quality and technological excellence, continuous reinvestment to the point that they're investing 18 billion by next 2028 Saudi Riyal in ensuring that Al Marai is the market leader. Al Marai reminds us that vision plus consistency can lead to legacy. Another very new case study that I would like to touch base upon is a specialty coffee that recently started by two young Saudis, Mishal Khalid al-Shahri and Abdullah Rajhi. Now, this is a beautiful case where it's called 500,000 cup. The reason they say 500,000 is because they had 500,000 riyal to raise capital to build this specialty coffee. In just 7 years, they have 65 stores across the kingdom. They have opened an outlet in London. They are planning to expand into Iraq. And they have a possible IPO coming up. Can you believe all this in the last 7 years? Now, what has fueled this $500,000,000 growth? This is the localized differentiation strategy rather than just going in and bringing in international franchises, which is happening. But they also decided that why don't we have a localized brand that blends the local cafe culture with the Saudi identity, giving them the tailored experience, the customers, on the designs and the flavors that are to the preferences of the locals, standing against competition. And this is one, it was a purpose-driven branding, that they have a social cause, that every cup actually contributes to the society. They've got a profitability and purpose that can coexist. It's an amazing case study that I wanted to share with you all, because I believe that as entrepreneurs, beyond profit, there's a whole opportunity when you look at entrepreneurship beyond profit. Because I heard a lot of speakers saying there's a lot of money to be made. I think Saudi, see, I have lived in the UAE. I've lived all my life. And one thing I noticed in the UAE and in Qatar, in Oman, in Kuwait and Bahrain, different from Saudi, is the demographics. Saudi is the only country in the GCC which has about 65 to 70% Saudi population. UAE, we have 10 to 12. Qatar, about 10 to 15. I think Oman is about 40%. I think Kuwait, about 50-50. The structure of Saudi is that you have to be locally focused. You must understand the local culture. A gentleman before, I think Mr. Ahmed, he was talking about how to understand the Saudi dynamics before coming into Saudi. If you have come and been very successful in Dubai or UAE, it does not mean you can be successful in Saudi with the same business model, because this is an expat-driven market and Saudi is a local-driven market. So understanding and embedding the local culture and tradition plays a very important role in the success of any business that you would like to operate in Saudi. A lot of Europeans have started learning Arabic language. And it's a sad story that many of us sitting in the Middle East don't speak Arabic. It's our language of the Quran, language, Kalamullah, and also we will speak Arabic in Jannah, inshallah. This means that not just for profits, not just for business, for something beyond, Saudi is our market. I want to shift your mind from just an entrepreneur to a legacy builder. You can transform. Everything starts as an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs are innovative. Entrepreneurs are disruptive. Elon Musk is an entrepreneur. Then you've got this Virgin, Sir Richard Branson is an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs take bold risks and they create new markets. They're very visionary. But when you look at legacy building, it's a lot about purpose. The moment you're an entrepreneur and you're successfully able to cruise the first few years of your operation, you must start thinking as a legacy builder. You should start thinking about systems. You should start, I always give this system. What is system? Save yourself time, energy, money. If you're a company where you have to be involved, you're not having a system. If you're a company where you are operating and firefighting on a daily basis, you don't have a system. You have to let your company become an economic engine of its own. That's when you start creating value. And this cannot happen without successors, without nurturing future leaders, without having a long-term perspective beyond my personal timeline. I wanted to just go back to the first point where I discussed about the chapter that won an award. I wrote about a company called TriStar. I co-authored with another author. We were two authors. We wrote about the success story of a company called TriStar. TriStar is one of the region's largest private fuel logistics company in the Middle East. Private, leaving aside the government owned. And when I was speaking to Mr. Eugene Mains, who is the CEO, I asked him this question, that what keeps, he took a decision when he started the company in 1998. By 2003, he sold 80% of the company to Agility Logistics. He sold 80% of his baby. This is what I asked him. I said, sir, you sold your 5-year-old company 80% to a baby. your baby to another large organization? Why did that? What went through your mind? So his answer struck in my mind. What he said is, Muhammad, I want my company to outlive me. I want something that I create to live beyond me, which means I don't know if my children will come, my grandchildren will come, I don't know, but I want this company to outlive me. So sometimes as entrepreneurs, you think beyond yourself, you think beyond a personal lifetime. Well, let me conclude. What are the learnings as an entrepreneur? Build your legacy on clarity of purpose. Legacy is not a destination, it's a discipline. It happens. It happens only when you stick to it and when you pass it on from one generation to another. You have to envision beyond profits. The 4 P's, as the researchers call philosophy. Companies are built on philosophy, on people, on processes, and finally, last but not least, on practice. So now my question again, what kind of legacy do we want to leave behind as existing entrepreneurs, aspiring future entrepreneurs? Do we want to build a business that fades away when we step away? Or do we want to build a brand that continues on the values we built? So this is a question we have to ask ourselves as we are running the business. And I conclude by saying that true entrepreneurs create significance. So let's align our vision with execution and create a lasting impact. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'm open to questions.